What's up? Honor Mix 26 is here to give you my video entitled WWE, it's time to step up your game, or something along those lines, like WWE, yeah, something along those lines. And I'll explain why. I'll give my background on why I'm making a video on this right now. Let me set up. As you can tell, I'm Alex Ovechkin poster. Ooh, yay, go Caps. Anyway, my second episode of Watching Wrestling at College will be up at some point this week, hopefully. I'm going to James Madison University Friday night on a trip, so hopefully I can do it before that. I want to break down the new PWG card that was announced and why I think that card isn't good at all for PWG, and why it entails the reason of why I like ROH and Chikara more. I did finish Tag Wars 2010 and Champions Challenge, so I'm going to give my quick reviews of those in that video. Maybe a couple other things. But to the purpose of this video, WWE, time to step up your game. The reason I'm doing this video is because it has to do with college, actually. I'm taking an introductory level class, which is a speech class, where you have to give 4 speeches during the term. My second speech that I gave, which I just gave on Wednesday, was a persuasive speech on why pro wrestling should not be looked down upon. And basically in the speech, it occurred to me, and it occurred to my professor as well, along with one other person in the class who watched wrestling, that WWE needs to step up its game. And in my speech, I explained why, and basically that's how I made it sound. And that's basically why I'm making this video now, because it appears to me that I want more than anything professional wrestling to succeed and go back to the feeling it had in the 90s. And for it to do that, or in the they're in the Attitude Era when it was fresh, and basically the thing that MMA has now. And the best way to do that is for WWE to step up its game. Just if they did that, you don't know how much would improve. And I might be in the minority here, but I think since I started watching wrestling in 2001, that I'm probably actually in the vast minority on this, but I think this might be the worst year in WWE history. I mean, outside of WrestleMania and maybe Extreme Rules, I can't think of anything all that memorable about like the WWE. I mean, I have bright spots with Punk and just individual wrestlers, but you will always have that with the company. I mean, TNA's year is worse, and I can do that because I like the Young Bucks, like AJ Styles, RVD, stuff like that. But I'll have that with any company. But WWE as a whole needs to step up its game. I mean, there hasn't been one pay-per-view this year that I've gone out of my way to see outside of the 2 I just listed, and 2 pay-per-views in 1 year. I mean, some people might say 07, but 07, it did have a string of bad pay-per-views, but the ones that were good were very good. WrestleMania wasn't all that great, but it probably had the best match of Batista's career. And that WrestleMania did have a very good feel to it. I just liked the feel of that, because just being in that big stadium after not having won since 18, I just really liked the feel of that WrestleMania. But WWE needs to step up its game. First thing it needs to improve is just clearing. I like a product, and no matter what it does, if it's good. Like look at Chikara, it's PG, I love it. Look at Ring of Honor, it's PG-13, I love it. I mean, if a product is good, and it seems like common sense, but it'll help you out a lot. You need to just stop. The first thing you do is you need to learn where to push talent and where to not push talent. For example, you have guys like Alberto Del Rio. You have guys like Daniel Bryan, Caval, Evan Bourne, CM Punk that could use the main event and are better than some of the guys you have in the main event. I don't know how boring, Cena and Orton is going to get on Raw. And then Sheamus, who isn't ready, and, the Undertaker's definitely getting old, and, just the main event scene needs so much to be revitalized. It isn't even funny. Just WWE pushing talent, since 2004, kind of the only 2 new main eventers we kind of have are Sheamus and Jack Swagger. Those are kind of 2 that I thought of kind of went to the main event. I never really considered CM Punk a main eventer, to be completely honest. Even though I was a huge fan of his, I never really considered him during his title reign to be a main eventer. I always knew, I was like, okay, because I mean, I did for a little while, but I never thought he was a definite one. Like he was kind of a main event, lackey in points, because I knew like Jeff Hardy would always beat him. So the only two that I really thought I considered were Sheamus because of the way he was pushed, and actually Jack Swagger for that same reason. And now I don't consider either of them main eventers. Because when you lose to like Santino on Raw, what the fuck is that? And then he beats, and then a guy in Santino who will never be a main eventer, and then a future main eventer in Daniel Bryan, who you beat twice in a row, and the first one is a squash match as the United States champion, no less. Not good. And I really do see, Alberto Del Rio. I mean, WWE's second biggest market is the Hispanic market, and they finally have another guy to combat Rey Mysterio. I really do think a big blow-off match at WrestleMania between those two would be great, and that's where they should head. Probably with Mysterio winning, but putting Del Rio over, fine, for the long haul. So I do think Del Rio is a future main eventer. I do think Caval's a future main eventer, and he should get his. That's why I think WrestleMania 27 will be a very, very telling WrestleMania, and that's why I have plans on being there. Even with college, I plan on being it. I did buy my ROH Atlanta tickets. I have both of them sitting right there actually, and WrestleMania tickets go on sale this Saturday. So I plan on being there. It should be a very telling WrestleMania for the future of WWE, and this one's gonna be a lot telling like WrestleMania 20 was. That one set the WWE up very well. Like the future, like finally putting Benoit over and giving him the belt, and even though that led to murder and whatever, but that was a very telling WrestleMania for the future, just like 19 was. 27 will be in that same boat because of what happened the last two with Shawn Michaels retiring. Who's going to step up to the plate and bring WWE into the future? We know you have Orton, we know you have Cena, but who's going to step up? I just gave you three names: Caval, Alberto Del Rio, Daniel Bryan. I'm going to throw a fourth name out there, and that's going to be Wade Barrett. Now, do I think Wade Barrett's going to be a future main eventer and just be the most amazing thing ever like those three guys? No. But do I think he's different and the main event can use someone like him? Absolutely. I'm not the biggest fan of this Nexus angle, but since the moment I saw Wade Barrett in FCW, I became a fan. I immediately thought this guy had something special. And I really thought if given an opportunity like he was given on NXT, that he could thrive. And now like he's given on Monday Night Raw as the leader of Nexus, I thought that was great. There was guys on NXT. I'm like, it was very cool to watch that show because you could pick and choose who could be the future of WWE. And it was like, I mean, that's why season 2 bored me so much. You had four guys that didn't even deserve to be on NXT. I mean, Percy Watson I thought was so overrated, wasn't even funny. Lucky Cannon I thought sucked. Titus O'Neil we haven't heard from. And then who's the other guy? What's his name? Eli Cottonwood. Yeah, Eli Cottonwood, Mr. Forgetful. And then you had guys like Husky Harris, who I think it was Mr. Narrator who put him perfectly. Wrestles like Takeshi Morishima and can cut Jake the Snake Roberts promos. I mean, I like a guy that can do either of those. And put them together, it's really great. You have Michael McGillicuddy. Just if he goes off TV for like 6 months, you switch him to Joe Hennig, and he has like a gimmick like his father, but he's not his father. If you get what I'm saying, I mean, just like a little bit more vicious. I think that would work perfectly. And then you have who's the other guy? Caval, and then who's the other guy? Alex Riley. If you have him be like a Miz-esque, which you're doing, but like kind of maybe he can be the guy to beat Daniel Bryan, I think that would be fine as well. But then the whole thing with that's why I thought NXT season 1 was a lot better, because you had so much more talent on that show. Basically outside of Darren Young, who I never liked, to be honest, never thought I was a fan of his. I basically thought everyone at least had some sort of future in the WWE on that show. Michael Tarver, not really. But the other 6, Sheffield, Bryan, Barrett, Otunga, Gabriel, and what's his name? Slater, all had a future. And, that's very good. You can creating stars like that. But and now that Seth Rollins, who a lot of you know as Tyler Black, is now in FCW, and I'm watching his matches, and he's doing fine. When he comes up, I'm gonna wonder what's gonna happen with him, because I know he has the world ahead of him, and he's good as a face and as a heel. He's something different. He proved himself in Ring of Honor, and he's ready. He's ready for that. So and I know I just went on about young talent in WWE, but you know how much that would help. Honestly, I mean that's I know plenty of other guys have talked about this, but I don't think anyone's really focused on how much that would actually help the wrestling business as a whole. A lot of people try to copy WWE, and if they see this business model, okay, this is what WWE is doing, creating new stars, and then their company is thriving. Sorry, maybe TNA will do the same. Probably not, but if Heyman went into TNA and did an overhaul, that's great. But if we're working with what they have, you just need to go into an overhaul with, and just use a business model, which a lot of companies do, especially more seeming like it now, TNA more than ever. And if WWE steps up its game and just listens, to the fans that will buy their stuff, that know how to run companies like on the business aspect, you can do it. But the reason they don't do it is because they see, just such the response of, all the people that say Cena should be fired, but then on the business aspect, Cena is the number one guy in the company. You can't have that. So if you got to look at it at both ways. That's why I think guys like Del Rio, Caval, and Daniel Bryan are the future. They can go on both sides of that. Another way WWE needs to step up its game is definitely with how they cater to kids, because you don't want to seem like a kiddie company, but at the same time you don't want to seem, in retrospect, like a company that only caters to adults and teens. You need to do everything, and from time to time, you seem too much like a kiddie company. You're like, it was like a lot of the terms you use, like WWE Universe. That sounds like a kind of a kid term, to be honest. But if you throw in some mixed things like once or twice a year, like Hell in a Cell, you can use blood. That'd be great. The violence thing against women that they got rid of, and still chair shots to the head, I'm completely fine with them banning both of those. Those are just stupid. But little things like that might actually help your company in a way out, get more people to buy DVDs and T-shirts and stuff like that. I just really think that I really, really want WWE to succeed more than anything, because it's the business, it's the company that got me into professional wrestling, and I wouldn't be a wrestling fan with so much happiness that I have if it wasn't for guys like guys like Stone Cold Steve Austin, guys, as much as I don't like to say it, but guys like Triple H, guys like Shawn Michaels, guys like The Undertaker, they really got me into wrestling. And, I want to see more guys come up like I saw them come up now. And I keep mentioning these three names, but trust me, if you do it, it's going to work. Del Rio, Caval, Daniel Bryan. Those three guys really, really, really have the world ahead of them. And they're all different in good ways. And they can hold their own. Alright, give me your thoughts on this video. I know it is a little vague, but I'm college. I am very tired. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching if you still are.